seems to be such a foundation in the show. Talk a little bit about what that has meant for you as you shape the character and how important you think it is to the appeal of the character.
I think the code initially is a way that we get to know the character. He adheres to his tenets, we get to know what they are, and initially it's a way in, and you know, if Dexter didn't have a code and were killing people indiscriminately, I think all bets would be off in terms of the audience allowing themselves to identify with him. You know, he kills arguably horrible people, and that's a part of why we give him a pass for that. Or even applaud him. And but after a certain point, I think what is interesting is to watch the ways in which Dexter starts to lean against the code or even actively defy it. And so it sort of works as something to establish him, something he defies against, and something that he learns that he needs to return to.
The classic hero's journey that Joseph Campbell talked about started with a person living in the ordinary world, and they're sort of plucked out to this extraordinary thing. Dexter starts from an opposite place. He is born, he has his own birth, not into the human condition, but into this weird thing where he's witnessed his mother's death, and it's left him with this profound thing that he kind of has to work through. So he starts as this really classic anti-hero, just totally removed from society, and the code certainly makes it possible for us to watch this, but the really touching thing about him is that he keeps trying to claw his way back and establish human connections, even though that was the furthest thing from his starting place.
I don't know. He's been thrust into situations which have required him to deal with things that he never anticipated. But even at the beginning, when Dexter claims to be without the capacity for authentic human emotion, I think we're meant to be skeptical, and we're meant to sort of root for him to discover that maybe that's not entirely true. And I think he's certainly in a territory now where he's discovered that. And yet a fundamental disconnect remains. I mean, his ability to justify his behavior to himself is pretty impressive. He has grown in terms of his experience of himself in ways that are undeniably human, and yet does maintain some sort of internal conception of things that allows him to continue to kill people. Otherwise, I mean, really, would anyone watch it?
For Michael, I noticed in your recent role in Gamer, you played more of the villain character, and I was just wondering if you liked preferring more of the villain, complete evil, or going for the anti-hero, more good?
I'm, you know, all of it. I love that, you know, Dexter turns things on its head and invites you to root for the person who is usually the ultimate villain in a film, a serial killer. It's also fun to, you know, play megalomaniacal whack job straight up. It's nice to play good people, normal people to whom crazy things are happening, as opposed to people who are uniquely afflicted, you know. I don't know if I have a preference. I just love to be able to keep mixing it up. You know?